This is a simple trick to understand if you're gonna make it inside or outside the drop zone in a second. So let's imagine you're very far from the drop zone and you gotta know if you're gonna make it or not inside of a landing area. So you gotta know three things. The first is your altitude. So check your altitude. Second, you gotta know your glide ratio. The glide ratio is the ratio between horizontal and vertical distances. So for example, if you move 3 meters horizontally and 1 meter vertically, your glide ratio is 3:1. In this case, 3. To know this number, there are many tricks, but the easiest is to use a GPS. And third is having a reference point. So let's imagine the drop zone is right here. First, you check your altitude and you're flying at 2,000 feet. You know your glide ratio is 2, for example, and the only thing you have to do is multiply the altitude by the glide ratio. So 2,000 times 2, that means that you can fly 4,000 feet horizontally. And if you have a reference point, for example, you are over a lake and you know that lake is 3,000 feet from the drop zone, you now know if you can make it or not. In fact, it's very easy. Subtract this number by the reference point that you know, in this case 3,000 feet, and you end up with a safety margin of around 1,000 feet, and that means that you can make it. Please keep in mind that the glide ratio depends on many things. The most important one is wind. If you fly downwind, so the wind is pushing you, glide ratio is gonna be higher. So that's a good thing for you. If you fly upwind, glide ratio is gonna be lower. So keep that in mind.